bowtie.
Welcome to Thought Cops, the only podcast where every week we police the mean streets of the internet because, hey, somebody's got to do it. And then we let you be the judge, the jury, and the executioner in the court of public opinion. Coming to you live from Neo Chicago, I am Officer Kevin.
Boop, 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 boop. I am Officer Grant.
Dialing in from cyberspace.
I'm here. Like. I got this keyboard. I do just this on it. I go click, 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 and I hack just nonstop.
So it's also worth mentioning we recorded the last couple of episodes on a Saturday morning. Right now, we're here, at least in our local time zone, on a Saturday night. So I think it goes without saying, live from Neo Chicago, it's Thought Cops Live, starring Kevin POTUS,
Peter Griffin,
Grant Mooney.
Have we ever talked about how the SNL guy and the Smash Bros guy sound like similar, at least in delivery?
I've had that conversation before because I remember I remember like when we were unlocking characters in the Smash on
Colin
Wii U.
Jost,
musical guest Mewtwo,
Wario,
and special guest. Many Kudos! How are you, Kudos?
Me. I did get excited you guys had cool little titles before your names. You were like officers and shit. I was hoping I'd get a title too, like convicted
deputy
pedophile or
if
something.
you'd like it.
Yeah, I believe that's how that works.
I think our fans are deputies. I also think that our guests are deputies. There's a whole rank thing that we used to do, but we sort of lost track of it.
Can I be like in the back of the cop car and you're arresting me and that's my title? Like my crime?
If you like criminal, yeah.
Criminal, yeah.
Yeah. Convicted
I was thinking
sex
more like
offender,
ride
many
along.
Kudos. Yeah, something like that.
You know? Yeah.
Wait, what'd you say?
No, don't worry about it.
I just want to make sure I heard it right, but I think I might have. Many Kudos. How are you on this? I guess it's morning where you are.
It is Sunday morning, the day of our Lord. I miss going to church to be here with you guys, continuing my streak of my entire life. But today could have been the day, and you are holding me from that, so I just wanted that to be on the record.
I can't believe it. This podcast is sacrilegious.
I can.
The week after Easter, no less.
Oh, man.
But no, I'm good.
Easter.
I'm good. We're vibing. It's I'm sorry it's taken so long for us to tee this up. You guys caught me at a very oddly busy time in my life.
It's okay.
Most of my life involves me.
We've been
like lying down on my bed, like sensory deprivation chamber style, just staring at the ceiling. And you found the one time when I was had A, deadlines and B, flights for the first time in like 3 years. But we're here. We're outside. We're inside. We're here. It's cool. I'm finally on.
Yeah, it's all good. Yeah, I think for the past 2
great.
months we were trying to get you on, trying to link up, and it finally worked out, and I'm glad that you're here.
I'm glad to be here. You guys were. I was one of your most elusive criminals, but you finally caught me.
That's right. And
Like
we always catch our criminals. Isn't that right, Grant?
Yeah. Like in Scooby-Doo, we took off your face, but then it was just you underneath it, which was
You just pulled my
very
skin off.
confusing. Yeah.
Has someone done that? That has to be a parody, right?
Oh, there's 100 Scooby-Doo parodies like that. Hundreds.
I'm sure if you go on
Thousands.
Newgrounds, there's like 6,000 with the skin ripping joke. I bet.
Yeah. Hey, where's Shaggy? Oh, dude, I was smoking weed.
No one's made this observation before, man.
Yeah. And I would have gotten away with it if it weren't for you darned meddling kids, kind of like they say in the cartoon.
Yeah, I'm familiar.
Yeah.
Speaking
What if they
of
just
reaping
instead of kids, they
people's-
just drop like a slur? That would be an interesting way to spice things up.
That would be like, and they're like, oh, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah, this is a real bad guy.
Yeah.
I mean,
We
all
thought
of
he was
the
bad
all
when
of
he
the
was
villains
just stealing money, but wow,
Right,
he really has
exactly.
quite a dark heart.
Yeah, like he was embezzling thousands of dollars in a haunted house, but also he's apparently racist. That's yeah.
Arguably, can't tell which is worse, and they try to pull his face off again, and it turns out he just has the face of a racist.
is labeled on his forehead. Yeah, that's how you know.
He's white. That's how you know. You look at him. And you're like, oh,
Yeah, it's a black
boy.
dude, and they pull his face off, and he's white, and it's like, of course.
I knew he was racist. I could tell.
Yeah.
There's going to be a lot of people angry about this episode. Hopefully not. Hopefully we've cultivated a good fan base and weeded out the people that would be like, actually.
No, I think if the podcast does get canceled, it's clear we have a future in Scooby-Doo Flash animation parodies.
It's never too late.
Never,
Scooby-Doo's still
better late
somehow
than never,
finding
I
relevance.
suppose. Yeah.
But like I was saying, speaking of pulling people's flesh off, we know you from the Beef Boys.
Yes.
I just figured meat, flesh, whatever.
Meat, beef, face. Yep. No. The
yeah,
beefboyspodcast.com. We don't have that URL, so don't go there. And don't buy it either. We need to get that. But
Shit.
yes, we also host a podcast. It's not nearly as well put together as yours. You guys have like a show docket and shit. We just, when we get guests on, we're just like 10 minutes before and like, yeah, man, just join the server. We'll figure it out.
You would be surprised.
The
it's a tight ship
preparation
you guys
helps,
run here.
and sometimes it just doesn't
Yeah,
as much
this
as you
show
would think,
has
but
kind of
it's-
been on life support for a bit, I feel like. And we are resuscitating it every single week. But
Yeah.
you know what? God damn it, we're here.
I'm on this computer. I'm doing CPR.
Yeah.
It's been a
You're
wild
slapping
ride.
the face
but,
of the dummy around.
Beef Boys, you guys are in what, like 50-ish episodes so far or so?
Yeah, we stopped counting
many
because
episodes? That's
we
good.
kind of wanted to. We felt that the numbers make it seem a bit impenetrable in a sense. Like,
Okay.
if you see a podcast that's like, I mean, not always. Everyone consumes podcasts differently, and obviously, if you're on Spotify or something like that, I feel like you don't really give a shit. But if you're on YouTube, I feel like seeing like, number 35 of anything, immediately your brain shuts off. Like, I think it just makes me think of like Let's Plays. Like, I'm obviously not going to start watching this Sonic
Right.
Adventure 2 playthrough at number 35. I'm going to go back to number 1, but then that's like, oh fuck no, there's 35 episodes to watch. It's like a
Live and
commitment,
learn, I
you know?
suppose.
Whereas, like, if we don't have numbers and then we just have like an interesting title and thumbnail, we can almost debate people into thinking it's like a right opinion video or something, you know? Like, oh, this is like an hour-long discussion about whatever's in this thumbnail. Even though it's not, it's just us being fucking idiots for whatever. But that was the kind of thinking, is that, yeah, it doesn't seem as overwhelming on YouTube. But as a result, I've forgotten how many episodes we've done. I think it's like 40 something or 50, somewhere in that range.
Now I feel stupid for putting case file 256 in the fucking episode. Oh boy,
No,
a whole
don't be-
250 episodes I got to catch up
Listen,
on.
I don't know who needs to hear this, but if you're the kind of person who listens to a podcast and goes, I just like to start from episode 1, you're fucking crazy.
A lot
Don't
of
do
people
that.
have done
Absolutely.
that for us. A lot of people.
Listen, I appreciate it. Like, if you want to listen, it's all there for you. But like, you could start wherever you want. You could say, "Hey, many
Start
kudos."
with the most. Yeah.
Yes,
start with
many
this
kudos is on
one.
this episode.
Yeah.
That's the one I'm starting with. And then if
Exactly.
you like it, you catch up on whatever the most recent ones are. Then go to the beginning. You can hear our humble beginnings where we crowded around a cell phone on a table.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the general way people consume podcasts. And again, on Spotify or, other podcast platforms, I feel like most people don't really give a shit about the number. Like, I'll just go with it. Everyone's recent. That's all good. I think it's just specifically on YouTube, the titles and the numbers, I think, can throw off a humble YouTube viewer's brain.
Yeah, 'cause I do know, like,
we might be wrong. We'll see.
Most podcasts I do listen to seem to arbitrarily number them, and then there's some podcasts I do, and this like truly baffles me. They have seasons. Season
Yeah, I don't
3,
get
episode
seasons.
48. Like,
Oh,
don't
yeah.
fucking do that. Like,
I only get that if you're doing like
We do
cereal.
that.
It's
And
not
like,
anything like
yeah,
that. It's
yeah,
like something
yeah.
like what we do. Imagine if we called these seasons. It would
That'd be
so
insane.
confusing.
Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
We've been doing
Anyway, many
we did a
kudos.
season 2 thing literally just because we wanted to like, because we got like the theme of the set and everything. We kind of wanted to split things up into the different sets, just as a way to kind of like
Sure.
catalog the series or the podcast into like eras, I suppose, So it's like, I really liked the island era, or I really liked when they were doing this, like they were in this location or something, kind of as a way to like I don't know, just to arbitrarily segment like It's about like
Yes.
pretty much just a year. So like, oh, this is the 2022 era of this podcast.
That's kind of like in Godzilla movies. They label them by the era of the Japanese emperor. I think Brandon Kirkman was telling this on the episode he was on recently,
sure.
where it's at the Heisei era, the Showa era, and they're all labeled like you can buy box sets of the movies that came out in that specific era of Japanese history.
Huh.
That's actually we're going to start
That's
doing that
cool.
too, Grant. We're gonna start labeling these.
Yeah, sure.
I believe we're in the Heisei era currently. I could be
the
wrong.
Biden era.
The Biden
Yeah. The Trump era of Thought Cops was a lot different than the Biden era. It's
Yeah.
almost sort of like we don't know what to do now. Like everything sucks, and
Yeah.
it kind of sucks worse, but in like a better way.
I mean-
and I don't know how to handle that.
When I would pitch the show to people before Biden was president, I would say, "Oh, basically, it's like Orange Man bad,"
Yeah, we
and they would be like, "Okay,
read
I
shows.
listen."
tweets.
Yeah. And then as soon as we lost that cash cow, we're like, "Well, shit. I
You and the
guess
rest
we're
of
going to
the
talk
US
about
media.
M&Ms."
Yeah. So you
We're
guys
a lot
both
like
voted for Trump for that
CNN.
reason, right?
Yeah, only.
I just
like,
thought he
listen,
was funny. I just thought he. Listen. I don't know anything about politics, but I read this guy's tweets and I thought, hey, this is how I think.
Listen, we don't agree with anything the guy does or did or anything like that, but he was our precious cash cow, and we of course we
Yeah.
He was
voted for him,
objectively
of
the
course.
funniest president, like easily.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know.
Oh yeah.
So
I hate when
there's merit in that, I suppose.
There was this thing with like when people would be like, Obama's funny, and it's like, yeah, because he did like a stand-up class in college or something. He had like the delivery of a stand-up comedian, and I've been to too many open mics to just see that and just be like,
Get your own damn ribs.
you prepped that. You
Yeah.
prepped
Yeah.
that joke, Mr. President.
You were on the
Donald
improv
Trump
team.
was
We get
he
it.
would go with a handful of notes and just like rip them up Craig Ferguson style and be like, let me tell you about the Asians, and it'd be like, oh, okay.
Okay, here
Yeah.
we go. Yeah.
Tell,
Yeah,
tell
just
us about
rip
the
into shit.
Asians.
He was also
Yeah, sometimes he would
unintentionally
make them,
hilarious, which to me is much funnier. Like that iconic
Yeah.
one where he learns that Ruth Bader Ginsburg's dead, and he's just like,
Oh, yeah.
that's like honestly one of the funniest clips on the internet. What's the song that's playing in the background? It's like honestly the best.
I
Like
don't even know.
it's some really like emotional like love ballad or some shit. And it's like he's just going aboard Air Force One after a concert or something. It's such a weird series of events. But yeah, I saw that and someone
like,
said,
I did
tell
wanna
me this
mention,
guy
like-
isn't player one. Like he's absolutely the antagonist of this whole reality.
Yeah.
Like, speaking of like unintentionally funny, I actually was watching. Well, this is actually kind of a weird tangent because I was watching your video about brand Twitter today, which like touches on one of my favorite things is like unintentionally funny, like public mistakes on Twitter.
Right.
Oh,
And like I did
love
this,
that.
like I knew of like Beef Boys for a while, but I only kind of recently started diving into your content by accident actually. But I was like. Oh, wait! I think this guy's supposed to be on Thought Cops soon. I recognize the name.
Yeah.
And then because it's been in the works for some time. But like your video about brand Twitter felt like so close to like what we do here on the show, and I was like, okay, I'm super excited to talk to you about this kind of stuff because
Fuck yeah, yeah. That's one of my
I
favorite videos
just-
I've ever made. It's just it's like so cathartic to just rip into brand Twitter because I have a respect for it to a degree.
yeah,
Just as someone who studied advertising a little bit, it's an interesting, I guess, like on those zeitgeist we find ourselves in. Is that word even? I just use that word. I don't know what the fuck it means.
We
but
still
it
use
sounds
it.
Smart.
actually we
Is
use
that
it
a
quite
word?
often. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think that's a correct usage of it. But it's fascinating just seeing, the ways that brands on Twitter that like there really is no publicity is bad publicity,
Right.
like personified or well, it's an exemplified.
Taken
I
to
should
an
say.
extreme, basically. Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
But there
Like,
was,
they're
like,
fully ready to cop owls just to promote some fucking hamburgers. It's crazy.
I was gonna say yeah because like there was like a specific example you mentioned in that video about like the Burger King tweet "Women belong in the kitchen."
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Show thread,
Which is
but
so funny,
We did
by
like
the way.
almost a whole episode on that. Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've definitely
Oh,
touched on a lot of similar stuff, but that will never not be one of the funniest things ever to me. It's just these companies making these complete public embarrassing blunders.
We had a good one
Yeah.
in the show notes like for this episode that I think is like even that taken to just a stupid level, like pie in the face level.
Yeah.
So
I think the Burger King one especially is very funny because I have respect for them, and I think I said that in my video, is I actually have respect for them because like it's not, like I think what pisses me off about so many brand Twitter moments is they might push the boundaries in terms of what you would expect from a brand, but they don't push the boundaries in any other way. Like there's nothing provocative or edgy. Not that something has to be edgy, like fucking like says slurs or whatever, but like there's nothing ooh about it. But that tweet was
There's
the
nothing
first
cutting
time
edge about
pretty
it.
much,
It's
Right.
like
yeah, you're like, oh, okay, interesting. You're actually like sticking your neck out instead of just taking the boring fucking safe, like, the brand said bay, haha, they don't usually do that.
exactly. They're always just like a little bit behind. Like they're not so far behind where it's obvious, but they're just
Right.
like slightly behind where there's a subtle like this is awkward kind of feel.
it's like they haven't figured out what 4chan is, but they've been to like 9gag and they're like, ooh, what's
There's
casual
number
racism
in the name. Yeah, yeah. I get like
Well, I do
on
wanna-
like sorry, just off that topic real quick. On like a more like serious note about the same thing, like you could argue the same way that brands are really quick to jump into say like the LGBT support stuff, which is objectively a good thing. However, they only did it
Right.
once it was safe for them to do it, while they continued not to do it in places such as places like in the Middle East or whatever, where that's
Which you
are
showed
very much not allowed to do that.
Bethesda.
Yeah,
even
classic
like,
example. Yeah, so like
yeah, and even,
yeah.
no, I was just gonna say like the example of like the kerfuffle that like Disney's in right now, where they're sort of like not sure whether or not to be like pro LGBT or anti LGBT, and they're sort of like saying one thing and funding another, but then doing something else, but then doing the opposite, and then taking all of that and sending it to China and scrapping everything, and it's just like what? Just like just have an opinion, like just do something so we
have
know
some
what to do
morals.
with it. Yeah.
Yeah,
for
exactly.
fuck's
So
sake.
it's kind of like that thing as well. It's like if the Burger King tweet was like, I wouldn't say groundbreaking, but it definitely like pushed boundaries and was provocative and whatever. It blew up in their face, but it was those things. And I feel like
Yeah.
a lot of the sort of the pride stuff that some of these companies do, like they'll do it now that everything's legal and it's like acceptable to do that, but they'll still refuse to do it in places where they actually would involve making a stand and like doing what's right. And they're not going to do it there until I don't know, 50 years, whenever it's acceptable to do it there as well. So I kind of feel like it's that same sort of thing of people, these brands are cowards and they just want your money, and I'm going to make fun of them with you guys right now.
Hell yeah.
Hell yeah.
That's why we're on this earth. But speaking
Yeah.
of being on this earth, I also want to say I'm a big fan of your YouTube channel. Like I said, I just discovered it
Thank you
somewhere
very much.
recently. I was going down the rabbit hole, checking out a lot of your videos.
It's prolific.
Yes. And
A lot on there.
And I couldn't help but notice, Kudos, that you're currently at 199K subscribers on YouTube.
Well, almost
Maybe we'll
there.
help you get the bump. Probably not, but maybe.
No, we will,
maybe,
Grant.
Oh, we definitely will.
After
we have
this
the poll.
episode, I'm making a promise. We're going to get you to 199.1K subscribers on Twitter as soon as this episode comes out. You're going to
Okay,
you're
well,
going to
I'm
hit the big 199.1K.
Okay, well, I'm already there, so you did it. I think I'm at like 199.4.
199.2. Oh, 4. We'll get you there. I promise.
Please, thank you.
That's how-
I'd appreciate that. Well, the first time my channel really popped off, like big time blew up, was like 2 days after I went on the Create Unknown podcast. So it's not entirely out of the realm of possibility that maybe every time I go on another podcast, like I get rewarded for my time or something. I don't know. So you guys may well push me over, and in which case, thank you in advance.
We will hit that elusive 199.4 thousand subscriber count. I think that's when they send you the gold plaque, right?
Yeah, but it's gold flicked. It's specifically
Assholes.
199.4K.
Something to make mom and dad proud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Very arbitrary. Can I, speaking of, actually, maybe this is something to save for the getting mad, but Fuck it, I'll say it now anyway. It pisses me off that
Yeah.
YouTube's plaques are all different sizes. That really bothers me.
Are they really?
So the silver issue, I can fucking get mine. Hold on.
Yeah, we'd love to.
Oh, Grant, this is incredible.
This is like seeing it in person, except minus the in-person part. But
All right, this is
Oh,
mine.
look at that.
Whoa.
It's here. Okay,
Wow.
so that's all. Very. The design is very
Blinding.
nice. I do really like it. I think they do a great job with it. The gold one for hitting 1 million is exactly the same in design, except it's about this much bigger.
That pisses me off. I hate
Yeah,
that
and you're
shit.
gonna like
what
put it on
fucking
your wall.
why? Yeah, like if you want to have
This
them
is
side
like-
by side on the wall, it could be like this very perfect, neat, tidy thing. But now you've just got one, and then you've got a slightly larger one right next to it.
It's exactly
stupid.
like when Fox put out the Simpsons season DVD box sets, and the first 5 were normal boxes, and then season 6 was this weird plastic Homer head, and it looks so weird on the shelf because you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,
Yeah,
and then
yeah.
a plastic Homer head.
Yeah.
I hate that so much. Yeah, and then
It grinds my gears, as Homer would say.
Yeah, he would say that.
Adventure Time has very
Anywho.
good box sets. The way they do it is the box is is one of the main characters' faces, and then like each layer you take off it like goes into their skin, much like in our new Grounds
that's
parody
cool.
that we're going to be working on of Scooby Doo after this.
Oh,
so
yeah,
like,
yeah, that's
I
gonna
like
be-
that.
So like season 1 is just Finn, and there's a cardboard sleeve of his hat. And so you take the cardboard sleeve off, and then it's just him and his golden locks. And then you open the case up, and it's like underneath his skin, so like all his nerves and muscles or whatever. And then I think the disc is his brain. So it's like each
That's
layer
cool.
of the disc is like another layer of them.
That
But
is
then,
cool.
you know, in the later seasons, they start getting into like the weirder characters who aren't even human in some cases. So like as
Right,
it gets into
right.
them, it gets like weirder and weirder. It's a really cool creative way. And as far as I know, they kept
Man.
it consistent the whole way through.
That is a lost art, like the physical DVD box
Yeah,
set. And, like
yeah.
they still put out a lot of physical like releases, but they're always kind of like they cheap out on them and everything
Yeah.
because people are not buying them like they used to because everything's in a sleek, Netflix display where they can just take it away whenever they choose, and then
Yeah.
you don't know what the character's
What's crazy
brain
to
looks
me
like.
is the last 2 times I've purchased DVDs because I genuinely like a show, it's been a worse experience than if I just pirated it or streamed it, which is baffling to me because you think like, no, this is what you're trying to encourage is to buy the DVD.
Right.
And they make, in addition to like all the unskippable shit, like the fucking 2 minutes of ads that play every time you put a disc in and all this stuff, like just the quality is worse. Like I bought a DVD of X-Files season 1 and I bought the complete series of Adventure Time. Both of them were just DVDs, not Blu-rays. So maybe that's where I fucked
I was
up.
gonna say, yeah,
But like,
But
it still
X-Files
blows
is
my
like-
mind that.
yeah,
Yeah.
not an HD show though, so it shouldn't look bad.
Right.
What that's the weird thing though is that so I had the X-Files DVD and it was like it wasn't widescreen, it was standard definition, and then just the quality on it was like but I was like, okay, well, it's a show from the fucking 90s, fair enough. But I also had season 1 like pirated. Well, I didn't. I would never pirate something. I woke up one day and it was on my computer.
We won't tell.
And
Where did
and
this come from?
the example, I guess if it's here. But that one was widescreen and in HD, and it looked great. And I was like, why is this better than the one I paid money for?
Now that is spooky.
There's a lot of like weirdos that upload pirated content that will like I had a friend that downloaded something once and they were like,
Yeah.
we painstakingly went through and like all of like the language edits or something like that, like we ripped from this source or whatever, and then we replaced it because like what they put out in the DVD was not what they put out for wide release, so we had to like do and it's just like you're doing this just to like distribute it to strangers online for free.
Yeah.
Like you put in this much work into like cutting up audio files to like put into like a fucking cartoon so that people could just steal it and like what it's just like there's just
It is
weirdos
fascinating.
out there that like put in the
Yeah.
work.
It's like good on you. Like, I mean, they're putting in this work literally for not even any real, like, no monetary gain for sure. I guess it's just more like to be a part of a community, which is commendable. But it is crazy when you like, there's people who when a new Game of Thrones episode would drop and you needed to legally download it, which again I would never do, but I talked had very in-depth discussions with friends about it who did. But like there'd be the same people every time, and it's like that person like is just sitting there, like trying to upload it as fast as they can so they can be like one of the top dogs. And it is interesting. It really is just like a bit of a dick waving contest, I suppose. But maybe there is some seedy, maybe once you build up enough trust to your name on Pirate Bay, that's when you can then like sell out to people who want to put viruses into your into your uploads. And people trust your name at that point. So like that to me, that at least makes sense in terms of like getting something from it. Scummy, of course, I wouldn't do that. But there's at least like a tangible reward from that I can get. But yeah, the reason I bought the Adventure Time DVDs is because it's heavily censored in Australia on streaming platforms. Really? Australia's a weird fucking country, man. If you just search Adventure Time and censorship on the wiki, there's an entire list of like stuff that's censored, and it's the most arbitrary shit ever. Like it's it's a show that pushed boundaries, especially for a kids show, and there's definitely some violence that they cut out, which I don't disagree with any. Sorry, I disagree with all of the censorship, but I can maybe see, well, man, maybe that was a bit too violent for a kids show. Possibly.
But in America, I guess it must have been uncensored.
Oh, we love violence. We hate sex in America. You can't show any sort of anything.
Like the other stuff that's cut that's really arbitrary is like several mentions of relationships, even though the show itself like deals with relationships, like Finn having girlfriends and stuff. But there's just parts where like Lumpy Space Princess mentions that she has a boyfriend, and just that gets cut. And it's like, fucking why? It's so like the weirdest. Like Puritan shit. I don't know what the fuck the thing is, but the weird thing is
topsy turvy down there.
Yeah,
it is
because like we have like the Disney's like don't say gay, and then Australia Cartoon Network's like don't say straight. Did she just say she had a boyfriend? Yeah, cut that. We cannot. Yeah.
We're only gay here.
But then so it's censored on streaming services. But then if you just go to any store here and buy the DVDs, it's uncensored on the DVDs. It's not even like, here's the illegal version we imported. It's just like, the DVDs you buy here have the full series. And it's like, well, why is it censored on streaming? Very fucking weird here, man.
That's like shit here, though, too. Like, I wish that it was just like, other countries sure are weird. We are normal here. But it's like they do the same shit with all our streaming stuff, too. It's like anything that's the least bit... Like, the most famous example, I think, is like the Community episode where like one of the characters is like painted black, but he's not in blackface. He's just being like
a dark elf.
A dark elf.
For like, D&D.
Yeah, but that's the joke.
And it's just
like everyone's
exactly.
And they cut that out, and it's just like, guys, this isn't even like I'm an adult. I would like to watch this episode. Why can't I want put it behind a fucking wall and I'll type in a password, like do whatever. But like, come on, you can't do this with everything.
Disney taking out the Michael Jackson episode of The Simpsons for some reason.
Yeah, after 30 years. Like, come on.
It's so like, I don't know. Yeah, that shit blows my mind because it's like, it wasn't like they were painting blackface in a positive light. They weren't being like, yeah, man, he was really cool for doing this, and all the characters think he's great. The joke is that he's oblivious to the fact that you shouldn't do that.
Yes.
And like the black characters in it like call them out in a way, and like there's humor derived from that, and it's that's how comedy works. It uses uncomfortable topics in order to draw humor from them. So to then be like, this is advocating for people doing blackface is like, no.
Yeah, it's just a corporate decision at the end of the day.
Speaking of uncomfortable topics in comedy, should we move along with the show notes?
Yes. Let us move along to our very famous, very favorite segment of the show called 2 Minutes of Hate, where we like to blanket punish all that annoying random crap on our computer screens and our phone screens that we see pretty much every day of the week. So, without further ado, my 2 minutes of hate this week is movie theater cell phone videos that go viral, typically from like fan reactions, like people going nuts in a theater. And I thought about this one last night, Grant, because the two of us and our dear friend of the show, Sleep Science, aka Josh, we saw Sonic the Hedgehog 2 last night.
Oh yeah.
And I remember, like, you know, not a spoiler. We know Knuckles the Echidna is in the movie. If you've seen the trailer, you know that. But there was this clip going around on Twitter, like in the last week or two, where somebody was filming the theater when Dr. Eggman comes out and goes, "Oh, Sonic, let me introduce you to my new friend. Sonic, meet Knuckles." And then it cuts to the theater going like, "Oh!"
Did nobody know? Did nobody watch the trailer?
That's
He's
what I was
just
like,
there. He's in all the promotional artwork. He's standing. A cardboard cutout of him is standing in the lobby.
There's
And
literally
that
a guy
exact
walking
scene-
up and down the aisles dressed as him handing out peanuts.
Yep.
Oh.
And the same with our showing too.
Yeah.
But that again, like that exact scene was in the movie, but it's stuff like that and it's the audience going nuts. Like, thank God nobody did that in our theater, but there was barely anybody there. It was kind of weird. It was a Friday night, 7 p.m. There was like 10 people in the theater.
Right.
Weird. Great movie. I don't know why they wouldn't go. But
Yeah,
was
fantastic.
it was similar for the new Spider-Man movie.
Oh, dude, it was Spider-Man was really bad for that sort of shit. You know, like people screaming to the point you can't hear what they're saying in the movie, and you're like, okay,
Yeah. Cool. I mean, like, and that's like I think that really started with like the Avengers movies and stuff. Like, obviously, people have been doing this for some time, but like the capturing it on cell phone video, like when like in the Avengers movie when Captain America
when he
picks
gets
up the hammer. Whoa!
Yeah, when he gets Mjolnir.
Everybody's going nuts.
Our theater went hyped too, and you know, like it was kind of fun at the time. So I can't
Right,
entirely,
but, like,
you know.
But why have this out and like somebody's already
Yeah.
like that was what bothered me about that viral
Right.
clip, like the Sonic one, is like this guy he like saw like, oh my god, he's like fumbling for his phone like
Yeah.
oh my god, I'm gonna go viral on Twitter. Oh guys.
You know,
Yeah.
part of me, I know, Kevin, you've been talking about like GIFable moments in
Yes.
movies and how everything's like, oh, he looked at the camera and winked so that Marvel could then take that, turn that into a GIF or GIF or whatever, and then like,
Yeah.
then now it's its own sort of thing in a sort of like Tumblr-esque sort of way or whatever. Like, what if
Very
these people,
Whovian,
what if
very super
what if these
Wholockian.
people are doing this? Like, what if Marvel Studios is doing this?
Oh, you think that they have like a
you
plan
sit
to the
there.
audience?
Maybe.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know, man. At this point, anything's possible. Like, I discount nothing.
I could see it.
No, I would agree
could
with
see
that.
it.
Yeah, I remember when Spider-Man came out, they released a bunch of like promotional clips, or not clips, promotional like images, you know, as every movie does. And there was one of like Spider-Man running away from Doc Ock, I think it was. And it really, like, it wasn't a good shot. Like, it didn't look like this wasn't like a cool shot to promote the movie. It felt like they did it because they were like, oh, this has meme potential, which is like the most like cringy dystopian.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not dystopian as fuck. Who cares? But
No, it is.
You know, it's very like, you know, the fact that they were like, the kids are gonna love this one,
Yeah,
and
they're
the
gonna
fact that
toss
people
it on
probably fell
TikTok.
for it as well. You know.
Yeah.
It just like it really irks me because it's like I know there's enough.
I trust none of these fucking people. I trust zero of them.
It's like it's also like the M&Ms definitely came on screen before the movie and said, "Please turn off your cell phones," and then people are just like totally disrespecting that. They got their phones
Yeah,
on, they're
they're
taking
disrespecting the
video and
name
shit.
of-
It's like, did you hear a
of the
fucking
M&Ms.
thing the sexy red M&M said?
No,
were you-
she's wearing flats now.
Were you
Fuck
fucking
her.
listening? Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Hey, if your shoes aren't sexy enough for me, you are not. I'm not listening to this piece of candy. I'm doing whatever the hell I want during the movie.
It pisses me off too because I just as a rule I fucking hate when people use their phones in the theater because like
Yeah.
I've been to the theaters before where like someone's just on their phone the entire time. Like there's one time there was a person sitting near me by themselves on their phone for like the entire movie, and I'm like, did you just need to kill 2 hours in town? And you're
Right.
like, well, I don't just want to sit like on a park bench, so I guess I'll go sit in a movie and not listen to it or pay attention. But it's like
It's
the
bizarre,
glare, even if you have
yeah.
your shit on the
Right.
lowest lightness, or whatever, you're still pissing everyone off because it's like there's
And
this
it's never
bright
the lowest.
cube
It's like
in my
as bright as
peripheral.
it can go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they always absolutely fucking blast it just to. People in movie theaters. Yeah, I could talk about that for like 2 hours straight. I swear it's gotten
I
worse.
was like, during a Star Wars movie, it was like I just kept seeing in the corner of my periphery like this like bright light. I'm like, what the fuck is that? And I look over, it's like somebody's Facebook feed.
yeah, it's like
Come
really.
on.
I
I
get
don't
the
want to
sequels
be
aren't
on
that
Facebook
good, but
at
like
all.
Yeah, I mean, one time we went there,
And the
there was
worst
a
thing is,
dad
it was
with
like a
2
middle-aged
kids.
person. Like, they should know better. It's like, how
Yeah.
long have movie theaters been around? How long have you been going to movies where they say, turn off your fucking phone, and then you're blaming the kids for being on their phones constantly, and you can't even sit through a 90-minute movie in the dark without going on fucking Facebook.
Yeah, I'm sure the memes will wait. I think you'll be fine. The memes made by
The minions will be there, I promise you.
The minions
will
are
be
not
there
going
when you
anywhere.
go
If
on your
anything,
computer
they're
at
on the
home.
screen. They're on the movie theater.
Right.
Statistically likely to be there too.
And they're a lot less racist on the silver screen too. They're saying less controversial like shit about the border and like LGBT rights and stuff. Back in
That's
my
the
day, it's
funniest
like
thing
how
to
old
me.
are the minions to be having these opinions on like?
You have to
issues
remember they
that,
are
like-
the most. They always serve the most evil person. Like canonically.
true.
That is true. That is true. And
A lot of minions are what do you call them? Groipers.
right now they are. Yeah.
Minions really are just Pepe, but for like people born before like the 70s.
That was
Like
a
the
good
very
face,
some
Kevin.
very
That's for the folks
lot
watching
of
on
overlap.
YouTube.
Yeah, if you're watching
YouTube.com/ThoughtCops.
on
You can see my Groiper impression. Anyway, this is again my issue is people taking out their phones, doing viral videos in the theater. My punishment would be I'm trying to think of like an ironic the easy one is like obviously turn off your phone.
You know what? We should make them all. Anybody who goes into a theater, especially if you take out your phone, you should have to do drugs. You should be forced. Your water should be poisoned, and you should be sitting there having an existential crisis, wondering whether or not you're schizophrenic or whether or not someone like drugged you or played a trick on you. You should get LSD droplets, and you should reality. Oh look, now I'm watching the fucking movie. Now you're watching the movie. Now that all the bright colors and shit are fucking blasting into your fucking eyeballs, now you can actually watch and enjoy it. You
It's
stupid
like,
fuck.
Every movie's at the end of like 2001 where just all this shit flying.
Yeah,
at you.
exactly.
I was gonna ask, did this happen to you last night? I know you were. I don't know
No.
if you ever got it to work because I know you were fumbling with the edibles container before Sonic. You're like, can you try opening this? And I'm like, what the fuck is wrong with this thing? Neither of us could get this container of edibles open.
It's so child-proof that it was adult-proof.
Did it ever work? I didn't see.
No, I opened it. Yeah.
Okay.
yeah,
Okay.
I got into them.
I wasn't sure if like you were having some sort of like ego death during Sonic.
I wish.
to your point about
Just
punishment,
good old normal legal THC.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
for your punishment to this person, I reckon either Sharia law or I think it would make sense. So like you have to think
Classic standby.
they are ruining an experience for everyone else around them who, you know, they clearly aren't interested in this movie, but there's a lot of people there who probably were quite excited to see this movie. Yeah, even if it's Sonic 2, whatever. Like people were excited to see this stuff. So I feel like their punishment should be at like the next 5 events that they are excited to be at, someone ruins it by being on their phone. So like they've got their like college graduation the next month or whatever, and someone's just sitting next to them on their phone the whole time, and well, it's like meant to be their special moment. Someone's, you know, they go up on stage to shake the whatever guy's hand and get their degree, and so like someone's phone just starts ringing really loudly, and it's a really goofy ringtone, and everyone laughs at the ringtone, and all the attention is taken off them. It needs to be that sort of thing, I think, because I feel like that's what
Exactly.
they did to everyone else, and now it's happening to them.
Yeah,
and
that's-
they're also like filming it like it's like, yo, this is so hype. Like it's like,
Yeah.
yeah, we're just watching our son get his GED.
That's what you get for
Yeah.
ruining my experience of watching Wreck-It Ralph 3 in the movie theater. You fucking
Yeah.
moron.
You piece of shit,
My,
yeah.
my cell phone's going off during your funeral, you piece of shit.
Rest in peace to your uncle and my movie going experience.
It's on like the
but-
eulogy or whatever.
Yeah.
Exactly. Kudos. What is your 2 minutes of hate this week? What's bugging you?
Something I've been thinking about a bit recently. So I stayed up and watched the new World of Warcraft expansion announcement on Tuesday, which I am cautiously optimistic about being good. We'll see. Obviously, Blizzard's going through a lot of shit right now, and you know, I don't
Yeah.
necessarily. You know, I'm hoping they can work through those issues and create a better, safer, more enjoyable environment for the people who work there. And hopefully that translates to a better game. So, you know, we'll see, whatever. But that, watching that, it was a live stream that, announced all the new features and blah, blah, blah. It made me remember how much I fucking hate live stream chats on YouTube for anything corporate. Like, because, we spent a good chunk of this ripping out brand Twitter earlier, and I still stand by that. And if your beef is with the corporations, fair enough. But what bothers me is, these really big presentations. Like, there was like 100,000 people watching the presentation on YouTube, and I think even more on Twitch. And like all the live stream comments are like just the worst. Like, they're just like ripping out like the appearance of like the people, like the game devs who are like presenting it and shit. And it's like, man, they don't fucking have, most likely don't have anything to do with the reasons why you dislike this company. Like, you're just being mean to like random people online. Especially the women in the videos, which is exceptionally ironic,
Like, these are the people who make the games too, so it's like that meme where it's like my hands look like this, so hers can look like this.
Right.
Like my appearance looks like this, so your game can look like this.
Yeah, I didn't shower or have a haircut in 3 months because I was grinding 100 hours a week, just so you can
crunch time,
you can kill some goblins more efficiently.
Enjoy.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming to my fucking appearance. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one, and like I noticed it as well when there was that little thing that happened in Ukraine, I think, and you could go onto YouTube and watch like just footage live streams of like I don't know if it's webcams, but like cameras looking around like Kiev and stuff. And that was really interesting because like the World of Warcraft one was a very specific audience niche. Whereas the Kiev one's like, that's universally interesting to everyone in the world, like everyone from every corner of the world, every age, who knows how to use a computer is probably interested in this conflict. And so you were getting literally everyone talking, and everyone's an idiot. There's nobody with any good, like everyone has awful opinions. Everyone's blaming like politicians who like, what the fuck would they have to do with anything? Like really unrelated shit.
Yeah.
Thanks,
Obama.
Awful. Thanks, McCain. So just shit like that, where you like when you look at live streams, like live streams for actual creators are usually a bit more positive, I guess, because they don't want to bring negative energy into the chat of someone that they like. But something like corporations or news organizations and people don't give a fuck about hurting anyone's opinions, that's when you really see like how people talk or act online. And it's quite eye-opening, quite depressing.
That ever like start like existentially getting to any of you guys? Because I feel like there's times where I just like something about the internet, and maybe this is just like modern life. I know that they've done studies on like have people actually gotten ruder within the past 2 years, and it's like
modern life.
Overwhelmingly, yes. It's like people are being meaner to each other. People are being ruder. You see that like on different apps, on social media, stuff like that. Just people are just like completely intolerant with just everybody at all times. And sometimes I feel like I'm getting like beaten down, like not even like negative comments on our shit or my own videos or anything like that, but I'll just be like,
that's understandable. Listen,
that's like whatever.
I'm not in disagreement.
I can accept that. But sometimes it's like you're just scrolling through Twitter and it's just like, man, a lot of people are like fucking mean, and you're just like scrolling through YouTube and you're like, there's a lot of shitty people, and like for some reason right now I feel like that's been getting to me more than ever before, and I don't know why. It's like severely depressing to be alive.
Well, like the way I see it, it's like it's weird because like Grant, you got to take it there.
Yeah.
But
it is. It's just one of those things where it's like people just like just the level of common decency, like to read like some of the comments, like you were bringing up Kiev, like to read some of the just how people just mull over like the loss of life and shit like that. It's just like I can't ever bring myself to that point where I would be like commenting something on something so horrific.
Well, that's good.
Because you look at these things, and if you have any semblance of like empathy at all, you're like, wow, this is terrible. I don't even know what to think. I don't know what this conflict's about at all, but it sure does suck to see thousands of people just get wiped off the face of the planet for no reason. Oh, look at all the asshole comments. Just like, man, this is like crushing me.
Yeah,
Well, it's
you
weird
see
because
all
it's
these
like, I
people
feel
getting
like-
like obliterated by like Russian tanks, and you're like, I should comment Trump 2024 on this. I think that'll help.
Yeah.
Well,
It's
that's my
insane
chance.
to me. It's insane.
It's weird. It's because I do feel like, you know, we are like society at large has become more accepting, but also less accepting. It just feels like everything is simultaneously getting better and worse at the same time.
Yeah.
And it feels like being like I'm like Stretch Armstrong, like just being pulled in two different directions. And
Yeah.
as we all know, Stretch Armstrong can only be stretched so far until he snaps.
Yeah.
I feel
That
like
wasn't a
it's
threat,
pretty much
but-
it all comes down to anonymity, and it comes down to anonymity, and it comes down to the internet in general. Because like I often
Yeah.
have to remind myself that Twitter and YouTube is not real life, which it can feel that way when
Yeah.
you know work in a sphere like I do, where that is like your life to a degree. Like you don't have like a Slack chat with your workmates in your cool office. Like your Slack chat is Twitter and YouTube, you know, so they can feel like colleagues or associates in some way. But then you go outside and you're like, oh, most people don't give a fuck about any of this dumb shit. Like, you know, and most people are nice to each other in real life. Like most people are pretty chill with each other. You know, they're not like, you meet someone and they don't immediately like cross-reference your beliefs with theirs to make sure they can be friends with you. You know, like compared to say what might happen online. Like people in general in real life are quite nice to each other. Like even, you know, I often think like the family members who have awful takes you see on Facebook or wherever, and you're like, this person has a fucking awful opinion. But then you meet them in real life, you know, you go to a family event or whatever, and not always the case, of course, but a lot of the times they're actually just really good, nice people in real life. They just might have some quirks online that you might not have known otherwise, which isn't to say you should excuse behavior. And obviously there's levels of like, that's a bit of an odd take versus like, well, okay, this person's like actively, you know, calling for the death of someone. You know?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Obviously limits, of course, but you know, the sort of stuff
Yeah,
that would
nice
easily
guy
be,
has a manifesto. Sweetest guy in real life, though. Just
Yeah,
don't read
yeah,
the manifesto.
exactly.
We caught we have an audio bit of him saying, "You pull Stretch Armstrong so far, and finally I snap."
I didn't mean me specifically. Just to be clear.
this is your manifesto. People can put all this together, all the episodes
Yeah.
together.
Hundreds of
And
hours.
that's technically a
I'll look back at
manifesto,
this
yeah.
one day. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, those are my 2 minutes of getting mildly perturbed about something.
Okay.
But I
Now,
think that we get.
what is
Wait.
your-
We need to give them a punishment.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I feel like these people say things because they don't know that anyone's reading. They don't often like expect a response. I feel like they just feel like they're throwing something into the ether. I've had it quite a lot on my channel. I don't get a lot of hate comments, but I do get some, obviously, and I usually just ignore them. But every now and then
Can't
you kind of
avoid it.
like. Every now and then, if you're just kind of like, you know what, I'm just going to reply to this person just to test my hypothesis. And about 9 times out of 10, they immediately flip and start being really nice. Like they just don't realize that you're reading, especially, you know, once you get to like a certain size, they're like, I'm just going to throw this out into the ether.
Kind of like killing him with kindness, you know? You're just like,
Yeah,
hey,
no, exactly.
bro,
That's the
thanks
thing.
for-
I always think
thanks for
killing
watching.
kindness is the funniest thing you can do. And it's just, you know, nice to spread, you know, positivity in general, I say, while being
Yeah.
heavily cynical online. But you know, there was a guy on Twitter who I was tagged in something. This is it. So someone replied to an internet story and tweet being like, "Oh, when are you doing a video on Cyberpunk?" And this other guy replied to that one saying, "Oh, you should watch at Mini Kudos' video. It's got Historian in it. It's like kind of similar vibes. You might like it." And you know, some people are like, "Oh, thank you for the recommendation," whatever. It's all good. And then some guy replied like 3 months later. I don't know what the fuck he was doing in that thread, but you know, he replied being like, "Oh, this sucks. Isn't anything like Historian." Said something like that, and it popped on my notifications because that guy tagged me in the previous tweet, and so I just replied to that dude being like, "Oh, sorry, man. Do you want me to refund you for your time?" And immediately that dude's like, "Oh, no. It's just a bit different to Historian stuff, but you know, it's not a bad. I still." And then he like does a second tweet where he's like, "Hey man, I've subscribed to your channel. I feel real bad about the home." It's like, okay, well, fucking just don't say shit in the first place then. So my
Right,
punishment.
it's like-
Another satisfied customer.
Yeah, that's I've done that 199,000 times so far. But the punishment, I think, should be that those people get swamped with attention. But
Yeah,
and
hey,
like
you want it? Here you go.
Negative attention, yeah, like they're spitting negativity. Immediately, everyone dogpiles them every time they comment on a live stream, comment on a YouTube, anything. Like, if you're going to be willing to say this shit, be prepared to, to take it back. And the same with it, like, when a big creator, I'm not trying to defend Dream here. I'm not going to because I don't like Dream. But when like a creator who isn't Dream, like replies to like some hate message or quote tweets it or something, and then that person's like, "What the hell? You're sending your fan base after me?" And it's like, "Wow, you were talking shit." But also, Dream should know better. Different discussion. Anyway, that's my one. How about you?
Grant, how we doing tonight? What do you want to get off your chest?
I had a different
What's
one,
tickling
but
your
I
balls?
guess
Yeah, tell us.
nothing. I was out biking today, and like a weird guy. I say weird guy because there's just some people, like especially when you live in a big city where it's like you're like it wasn't like a homeless, like just a weirdo, just
Something
a fucking
ain't
weird
right.
guy.
But he may have a home to go home to.
I was like biking by him, and he was like, "Hey man, keep it up. You're doing great." And I was like, "Okay." And then he was like, "My lady was looking at your dick." And I was like, "See you later."
All right.
It was
You do
thanks,
bike
very,
pantsless.
very weird. I'm wearing.
Yeah, to be fair, Grant
I'm wearing no pants right now, but
Yeah.
I mean, you don't have to be looking.
he's like, I podcast better without, something down there.
I'm like a
Yeah.
news anchor. I am wearing my signature shorts right now. Maybe he was saying my shorts are too small. Maybe dress a little more modestly.
I wouldn't read into it
But
too
what
much.
he said was he said my old lady,
Oh man,
which is like
So
a
his
great
mom?
way to like, I'm assuming his wife.
his wife.
His
Yeah,
wife.
probably.
But he also like gave vibes of like I'm not all here sort of thing. So it's like
Yeah. Was there a woman
My
nearby?
I don't know. I was.
It was actually a trash can he was pointing at.
my 2 minutes of hate this week.
It's schizophrenics. Wow, Grant.
Schizophrenics. My 2 minutes
Interesting.
of hate this week is the internet numbers game. This feels like a deep topic of conversation.
Wait, what was the tangent there?
No, he said, "What's tickling your balls this week?" And I said, "Well, there was some guy that was commenting on."
Oh, I was like,
I was
like, where
wondering
is this
how you were
going?
going to tie that in. Okay,
No,
yes.
it was just
the
a
internet numbers
direct-
game.
Yeah.
Okay.
The internet numbers game. There's a lot of times online where it's like you get into doing something because you care about what you're doing, and you go so far with it, and you look at your numbers, and you're always comparing numbers. You go, "Oh, this person's got these numbers.
There's your problem.
This person's got these
Yeah.
numbers. I got these numbers. Well, at least I got these numbers, and this person only has these numbers. So I'm doing better than this person. But these numbers, I'll never beat these numbers." And you're looking at these numbers, and you're just like, what the fuck am I doing? Like, why am I, like, there's so much of it where it's like, I'm concerned about, like, we want the show to be successful. We want viewers. We want outreach. We want, networking. We like, and there's part of it where it's like there's also sort of a monetary aspect to it too, where it's like I want to have enough money to eat, to live, to survive, things like that. But then there's also that aspect where it's like I'm so fucking focused on the numbers that like there's times where you forget like, oh yeah, I wanted to do this to like actually do something with it and to like do positive things, and that like you don't like I feel like especially on TikTok I have like a decent smallish micro influencer sized pocket of people on TikTok and like followers on TikTok, and it's one of those things where it's like, do you play the game of like, trying to get more followers, or do you do more content that maybe doesn't resonate with as many people, but that you feel good about, that like makes connections? And like, I can think of one video in particular where I was talking about how I'm sort of like burned out with my job and my life and with so many different things. And the video didn't get a lot of likes. It didn't get a lot of comments, but I got a lot of comments from people saying like, man, I feel the same thing. This really resonated with me. And it's like, to what point am I not seeking this out?
Yeah.
And I'm seeking out the fucking numbers all the time. Like, how many followers do I have? How many likes did I get on this video? Like, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, oh, but in this one, I didn't get as many, and I was more authentic, and I was being honest and truthful, and I was being myself. And this resonated with people. And, like, people derived meaning from that, which is exactly what I wanted to do in the fucking first place, you know, sort of thing. And it's just one of those things where it's like, it's hard not to get cynical and negative about anything when that's all that you're focused on, like, to the point where it just sucks the enjoyment out of everything that you're fucking doing.
I know. I mean, I'm sure many kudos. You might be like looking at that number, being like, "Man, I wish I'd said 199.4. I really wish it did." And I'm sitting here look, you're looking at everybody else with 199.4 thousand subscribers, and you're sitting there at 199.3 thousand, and you're like, God damn, dude, what am I doing wrong?
Numbers.
Where's those 100 dudes? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, they're coming. Don't worry.
It's tough. Yeah, after this.
Yeah.
You guys are doing me a big favor. Yeah. No, I feel that. I mean, I still have that today. You know, you never stop having that. And it is weird because especially you know, at the point I'm at, it's like this is my full-time job, so the numbers do have like if I do the numbers bad, I don't eat. So I probably should do the numbers good. But yes, to your point, you know, authenticity I think is very important. I've always felt that for me it's about finding the middle ground between what's gonna do numbers and what do you enjoy doing, which I know is like a very fucking obvious way of saying something, but like, you know, any of us have the talent. Right? Sorry, what was that?
Oh, easier said than done, right? Like
obviously,
yeah.
But like anyone, you know, I feel like all of us are talented enough to, like, if we just wanted to sell our souls and just make dog shit content, like we could just make like fucking reaction compilations to fucking funny animal videos or whatever you know, like there's a bunch of ideas I've seen them. I could do that in a heartbeat and I would hate myself. Like I would probably have massive numbers overnight and I'd be miserable. I'd fucking hate it. So, you know, but on the other side of the spectrum, it's like if I just do something incredibly indulgent that only me and like 6 other people like, that's, you know, I mean, that will be fulfilling for me to a degree, but then I'll have to go back to working a job because no one's going to be watching, and then I'm not going to get any money from it, which is, you know, the unfortunate reality of any artistic pursuit is it is always going to be a balancing act between the money men and, you know, the creatives. You know, as anyone in film can attest to, or TV. So I guess for me, it's what are my most mainstream, you know, hobbies or things I enjoy? Because, you know, the other beauty is, unless you're like some hyper hipster, none of us are very original or very unique. But you can lean into that, which is a good thing. Like you can be like, well, I know I like World of Warcraft, and you know, I don't know if you noticed, there's a few other people who like that too. So I'm going to make a video about that, you know, and like as a consumer of content from that game, what kind of video would I like to watch? So you know, you have that perspective as someone who consumes content and creates content, as you can be like, I sometimes have to hit myself with this because I'll be like, oh man, I'd love to watch a video on this, and it's like, oh wait, I'm a YouTuber. I can just make that video. You know?
Right. I could just make it and watch it.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. I could just do this for myself. And you know, if you like it and you like that kind of content, again, there's probably like hundreds of thousands of other people who like that content. Again, unless you make like something for a super niche audience, which again comes back to like, you just have to accept the fact that it's probably not going to do very well. But yeah, if you find something that you know does well because you already watch it from another creator, and you want to do your own spin on it, or you want to hit an angle that they haven't done, or that the internet in general hasn't quite approached yet, you know, those are the videos I've found that have done the best. So I suppose
that makes sense.
That's my thoughts on the numbers game. But the numbers game never stops, and yeah, I agree. Like, you know, I check my analytics every day, and you know, when things go down, like your mood goes down, and it's like it's sad, and I wish that wasn't the case, and I hope long term I can figure out ways to not let that affect me. And you know, it has been getting better as time's gone on. Like things definitely like smooth out, and it's not the highs and lows aren't quite as high or low anymore. But it's
I mean,
tough.
I think it also, it comes down to just like mindfulness. Where at the end of the day, it's like if you, it comes down to Minecraft. We're gonna pivot to Minecraft videos because this ain't working. And no, just like being being
Minecraft playthrough number 256.
Yeah, super accessible.
Never too late to pivot.
That could be a good punishment there, Grant. Instead of just being upset about this stuff, let's just rename the episodes to Minecraft playthroughs.
Yeah,
we never play it.
Can you imagine this show just blowing up after that? Just like all these confused kids, like I don't know what this is all about, but like it's on now, so I guess I'll watch it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Just 1 million views an episode.
I couldn't hurt.
Well,
to
see,
try.
that would be your punishment, is you do a one-off Minecraft Let's Play as a joke. It blows up for whatever reason, and now everyone wants that content from you, even though that's not the content you want to make, and now you're stuck in the numbers game. You're stuck doing, do I keep doing this thing people want me to do but I don't like doing? Or do I pivot, do what I actually want to do, and then lose all this momentum I've gained from this Minecraft video? That would be your punishment.
We've done like alternate reality.
She coined the term Minecraftfulness, which I think is a little bit of a merging of the two. Which
Namaste.
Yeah.
Yes.
We've done alternate reality type episodes before. We could probably do one again. The two of us in a corner with a green screen and just Minecraft. And do a normal episode.
That would be fun. You might make the set in Minecraft.
But let's move on here.
Yes, let us move on, because if you haven't listened to Thought Cops before, if you're here from many kudos and you didn't listen before, every week we investigate the internet's outrage-inducing news stories, and then we sentence each perpetrator to a cruel and often quite unusual punishment. Now, hey Grant.
Hey.
I smell something.
Oh no, what?
I smell sex and candy. Again.
Again.
Could you believe it? We're talking about sex and candy once more on the show. Apparently, there was a rumor going around that Snickers removed the dick vein from their candy bar. There's somebody took a picture of their candy bar, and it's smooth. It doesn't.
I'll get this up on screen in 1 second here.
I don't know what it is about this year where we just keep talking about candy isn't sexy enough, or they're making candy
weird,
less
man.
sexy.
So here, if you're watching on YouTube, here's someone said, "Who took the dick vein out of Snickers?" And I'm sure people have to be, and if you're not, I'm sorry about what I'm going to say, but there's like an ongoing internet meme where someone will replace a Snickers bar with just like a person's penis, and like with the vein. And they'll just go, "Oh, look at how delicious my Snickers bar is." And someone goes, "That's not a Snickers bar. It's a man's penis." So there's this ongoing joke. Yeah, there's this ongoing joke about like, hey, the thing, like the ridge of the Snickers bar, it looks like a vein. The vein makes it look penile. Phallic.
I like penile more. That's a better description. There's something about the smooth one that you can currently see on youtube.com/whatever the fuck. It seems like it would be tastier.
Yeah.
But I think that it looks like a Tim Tam, which is a New Zealand Australian delicacy. If anyone's been lucky enough to, it pretty much looks like that. It looks like it would be very smooth and tasty to bite into.
Yeah.
Now this might just be me, but I think it's actually sexier without the vein.
Yeah, there's something kind of smooth and erotic about it, like a buttock.
Yeah.
And enough of our fan base calls me gay on a consistent basis for me to make any sort of commentary on whether or not with or without the vein is sexy.
Gotta own it. Be like, I'll deep throat that bar.
You can go ahead and say that.
I'm on record.
I cannot. But so Snickers responded, believe it or not, and
let's read it.
You want to talk about tone deaf fucking brand. Here we go. Here's Snickers Response.
At Snickers says, good news. Contrary to what's trending on Twitter, the veins remain. And they posted a very veiny, very penile candy bar.
There it is.
I feel like they could have gone veinier though, and the fact that they did a cross section of the Snickers, we can see the inside, which was obviously just to make you hungry for a Snickers. But I feel like they could have lent into the phallic nature of it a bit more. Like if they had just one long, hard, veiny fucking Snickers, I feel like that would have been a better post.
They should have just posted a picture of a penis. Like, let's be honest. You want to talk about brand Twitter
BBC
going a little bit too far? That would have been hilarious. That would have been cutting edge. I would have respected them for it.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Also, yes,
What's the
like they
numbers
said,
on this one?
Let's see.
Damn.
They're good. They're big. One thing I did notice is the replies to the tweet are all they're all like content warning, sensitive content, but none of them are like actually
like people are actually trying to get laid down here. You see that? Like somebody's like, I'll show you a vein.
Yeah. Like every response is like fucking content warning. But it's like nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing explicit yet that I've seen.
I do like how that does. The fact that it's the official account does confirm that they are called veins. Like that's the company's official terminology for them.
Right.
That's canon now.
Yeah, exactly. That's Nick Cannon.
Yeah.
I like Snickers. The vein, take it or leave it. Kind of an eh. Do you guys have picnic bars in the States?
No.
I don't think so.
I've had Tim Tams before. I have not had picnic bars.
Picnic bars kind of suck, but if you look up a picnic bar, they look like shit. They look awful. Like it's this lumpy, grotesque. It's another like big candy bar.
Oh my god!
New Zealand, at the very least.
It looks like a fucking turd.
Yeah, they kind of lean into that as a joke.
I feel like I've seen things that sort of like that almost looks like what is it like $100,000 bar sort of?
It's like that, but like way more like this. I've seen this bar in my toilet bowl before.
I don't even remember what's
in
a picnic bar because I never get them. But from memory, it's kind of like Snickers, like nuts and caramel or something or other. Like they're not awful, but yeah, they're very ugly looking bar. But you know they lean into it these days. They're like, yeah, it's like the fucking stupid chocolate bar that looks like shit.
What the
Not quite
fuck?
as phallic
like,
as Snickers.
That's where we are as a society now, where these companies are like, eat our fucking poo. Like our food looks like poo. Enjoy.
Yeah, have fun. Well, to be fair, is it any different to Coca-Cola shaping their glass bottles after the figure of a woman?
I don't remember that.
They don't comment on it though. Like, do they?
Yeah,
like I believe that it's just one of those things that either I heard it and I forgot about it, or like whatever.
Allegedly, the shape of a Coke bottle has got it's got like the hips, and then it kind of
yeah, that makes sense.
Okay.
So I don't know whether that's true or not, but but that's from like fucking the like 70s or some shit. That's like old. Right. This is way back in the day. Actually, how long has Snickers been around for? Because they've probably been rocking the dick vein for just as long.
Yeah, I don't know. There might have been a Mad Men episode about this.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I did see that as a meme. That's that shot from like one of the first episodes where he's like pitching the ad to like Lucky Strike or whatever I think it is, and he's like lean into the dick vein.
Of course, it already exists. God damn it! I thought it was clever.
No, you're not.
Yeah, that's what. Honestly, that's what I feel every time I go on Twitter. I'm like, I think I have a good idea for something, and I go on Twitter, and it's like, 100 people already did it. Okay.
Yeah, what annoys me is like, maybe I should cut Amy Schumer some slack, but often I have a really funny joke in my head, and then I'm like, oh wait, I think I just saw that on Twitter. Like, you think you've like thought it up, but it's because you saw someone else do it, and then your brain kind of bounces around this idea, and you're like, oh, that's a funny tweet. And then you go to sit down and tweet it, and you realize that someone did it 3 days ago, and you're just remembering it now.
Yeah, like honestly, sometimes you just gotta fucking do it anyway, because for the most part, it's like, do my followers know about that? I don't know.
I did that with a Bill Maher joke. Bill Maher made some joke about like
You kept talking about how God isn't real and stuff.
Even better. He was like, "Oh, they wrote slavery in the Bible. What's next? Are we gonna cancel God?" And I made some video that was like, "No, Bill, you're gonna cancel God. You made movies about canceling God. I didn't." And then people in the comments were like, "He made that. Like, that's the next thing he says." And I'm like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. None of this shit fucking matters.
Uh-oh, Bill Maher stands in the comments. Uh-oh. They're always showing up.
Who cares? Oh
They
my!
always come
You
out of the
won the
woodwork and say
argument. Congratulations.
Yeah, congrats. Jesus.
Are you happy now? Are you satisfied? Are you sustained?
Speaking of satisfied, though. Speaking of satisfied, I would say, okay. So the vein is back. Everybody's happy. Zwick is like, oh, thank God. And I don't know. I say like, okay. So apparently sex sells, right? Everybody's happy.
Yes.
The candy bar looks like a penis. Make them all look like penises. I'm not kidding around.
They already do.
No, I'm serious.
Just lean into it.
Like Butterfinger is like, hey, look at our new fucking candy bar. Doesn't it look like something? And they show a picture and it just looks like a straight up penis. Like it's got the head, the shaft. It's got the vein, like everything. And like, Coke bottle. Yeah, like, it looks like a sexy woman. Yeah, the Cadbury Cream Egg.
Cream Egg
like,
ejaculating penis. Like they have that white stuff in a Cadbury Cream Egg, and it's just all the way up the dick. You know,
or like a Cadbury Cream Egg comes in like an ovary, and every man is like, "What's this? What's this shape? I'm unfamiliar
I don't know what the
with
fuck's
female
happening
anatomy."
here.
Or like that, what's it, that new emoji that came out? People keep talking about. Where like I saw Justin Wang tweeted about it, where it's like the glassy eyed like face, where it's like the pleading emoji, but it's like smiling and crying, and he's like, it looks like the kind of girl like who she got slapped, but she likes it. It's like imagine Cadbury candy like tweets out a picture of their egg with like the fucking ejaculate cream oozing out of it, and just the only caption is just that emoji. I'm calling it now. I'm calling it now. It's gonna happen.
Let's be honest. Like M&M's unsexifying their mascots is like the opposite of what used to happen like less than 10 years prior. Do you all remember the one Skittles commercial where a man ejaculates Skittles onto his like bride?
Was that real, or was that like
that was real? I remember.
Like
I remember like watching that on TV. Like, unless I'm creating fake memories, which I mean probably, but like I do remember.
Yeah,
I do remember
so.
seeing that and being like I was a kid, and then seeing that again later online and being like, wait,
why do I like this?
Because I remember seeing that, and I think it might have been, you might be right, I'm not sure, but I vaguely have it in that same, you know how like Doritos does those like, oh, if the fan ads, like make an ad for us, and if you win, it'll be played during the Super Bowl, like that sort of shit.
Yeah.
I feel like it was from one of those, and then people get to upload it to YouTube with like the ad that Skittles banned, or like, rejected Skittles commercial, or, like that sort of shit. And it's like, well, it's clearly not. It's not that Skittles made it and then uploaded it. Just some dude made it, and then Skittles probably didn't even respond to them. But then you can still be like, the banned Skittles advert, and get like 10 million views. So I put that ad and that part of the world in my brain. But, I'm not saying it isn't real. It might be real. Maybe it was like an early YouTube thing where they were like, well, we can't show this on TV, but let's put it on YouTube. That'll be funny.
I honestly do, and maybe this is a Magdalena effect, but I feel like I did see that on a television, but I could just be I don't know.
Yeah, I saw it on a square screen at some point in my life.
Yeah, but
could have been a wet dream. Who knows?
I guess speaking of phallic, our next story. So I guess Tucker Carlson he's doing a documentary.
Of course.
Have you all seen this? This is insane. Let me do a screen share. This is some ludicrous shit. Now, if you're familiar with the manosphere type content, you've probably come across this. I know that we talked about in one episode.
What manosphere? Is that a sphere for men?
It's a sphere for men. They finally made one. You guys can all relax and rejoice.
Thank God.
We talked on one episode about like perennial tanning.
I was going to say that's exactly what I thought of when I saw this.
So Tucker Carlson is now telling people to perennially tan, and there's a video that goes along with this too, like a
what is going on?
A trailer here. Actually, I'm gonna play this. This is the Tucker Carlson documentary. In the current year, the cycle continues. It's a man
That's such a
tanning his
power
balls.
Once
Here's a guy
society
flipping a
collapses,
tire.
then you're in hard times. Well, hard iron sharpens iron, as they say. And
Guy's
those hard
chopping
times
wood. Here's a guy taking an ice
produce
bath.
men who are tough,
Guy drowning
men
himself.
who are resourceful, men who are strong enough to survive.
Drinking a glass of milk,
And then
I
they go on
guess.
to
I thought it was
reestablish
eggs.
order. And
At
so
first I thought it was
the
beer.
cycle-
'cause
no,
that's
you're
quite
right.
manly,
I think-
but then I think it might have been
I think it
eggs.
is eggs, yeah.
Tucker Carlson Originals presents
The End of Men.
Wow.
The End of Evangelion by Tucker Carlson.
Just his fucking big head.
all
What is the
returns
point
to
he's
nothing.
trying to make here? Is this about how men are all sissified these days, and these are the
Yeah,
last true gentlemen?
There's too many cat boys running around, says Tucker Carlson.
I don't think it's very masculine. I mean, whatever. I don't
Dude, this
give a shit
whole
what people
this
do,
whole
but
trailer was pretty gay. Like,
yeah.
for a
That-
guy
so that
that's
was
all
my
like,
point.
you know, yeah.
For people like, I don't want to generalize obviously, but I imagine a lot of the people who are, very worried about, I don't know, the sissification of the male gender are probably also the sort of people who
Right.
aren't entirely on board with homosexuality. Well,
Of
they
cour-
say
yeah.
they're not, but I feel like it's maybe one of those things where it's like, well, this is an excuse for you to hang out with all the bros shirtless and just like have a good time. But there's nothing gay about it, I swear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
a couple
exactly.
dudes naked in a forest, tanning our balls together.
Hanging out, just guys being dudes, no women in sight, everyone's naked. But it's not gay. It's definitely not gay.
We're doing judo. We're Brazilian jiu-jitsuing naked. We're drinking eggs.
Yeah, we're drinking cum. Eggs.
If a little cum gets in the eggs, mistakes happen.
Yeah, I mean, we got to keep our
There's,
macros up, man. We got high protein. You don't want to be losing anything. You got to drink
Yeah.
your own cum.
Right.
But it's not gay. It's because testosterone is stored in the balls, and
Yep.
so drinking cum is the manliest thing you can drink because men are dying, and I'm straight.
Seed of man. Yeah.
You know, if they wanted to do some sort of ancient Spartan thing where they're like, hey, we're just gay now, like, I would be more, like, respectful of that. But they're still, like, they're still, like, homophobic and shit. And it's just like, man, like, what are you compensating for? And again, like, all this this just goes into the same shit pile as the rest of the culture war and, like, everything else. And there's, like, a crisis of masculinity happening, which, like, it's one of those things where there's, like, I guess the thing right now here, I'm going to play another clip here that sort of like this is more into like the specifics of the testicle tanning. And so I'm going to play this video and he'll describe it more, I guess.
You saw in the clip there, if you want to optimize and take it to another level, expose yourself to red light therapy.
Yes.
And the Juve that we were using in the documentary. There's a massive amount
Which
of
is testicle tanning.
It's testicle tanning, but it's also full body red light therapy, which has massive amount of benefits. And there's so much data out there
No,
that
there's
isn't
not.
being picked up on or covered.
So obviously half the viewers right now are like, what? That's testicle tanning? That's crazy. But my view is,
What?
okay, testosterone levels like crash and nobody says anything about it. That's crazy. So why is it crazy to seek solutions?
It's not crazy to seek solutions, and I think I was recently exposed to a term called bromeopathy, and I think there's a lot of people out there
Jesus.
right now that don't trust the mainstream information, and they're taking
Okay.
So Thought Cops word of the week,
Bromeopathy.
bromeopathy.
There you have it.
It always surprises me that homeopathy seems like it's like a slur almost. Like it seems weird that
Yeah,
people embrace
a little
that.
close to you know what.
Not even. Well, it's to me it reads as like, okay, this is just medicine, but if it didn't work. So it seems weird that if then people are like, yeah, no, I love homeopathic stuff. It's like, okay, you realize that almost seems like that's the bad one. You shouldn't be excited about the bad one.
Yeah, I know people call Joe Rogan goop for men. This is literally goop for. I mean, this is like the same fucking shit.
Yeah, literally.
Also, like, if you know anything about how to read any sort of science, you look at like the data that like, oh, there's mountains of evidence that says it's like not. It's not. It's not peer reviewed. It's not like certified or anything like that. It's like some guy in the 30s was like, yeah, blast your balls with sunlight. It's like, what about like skin cancer and shit like that? Like, is that a
I didn't
worry?
even think about that. Yeah.
Yeah. You don't have too much testosterone when you're battling cancer.
No, exactly. And also, I believe, I'm not sure if the UV light penetrates this much, but testicular cancer is like the most common form of cancer for, younger men. So I feel like blasting your balls with rays of cancer-causing light might be accelerating something you shouldn't be doing. And then you have to cut your balls off, and now you've got less balls than most men, including sissies.
Right.
So you've really kind of shot yourself in the balls, literally.
Yeah. There's so much about this. And like, in addition, if it has anything to do with vitamin D, you can just like, a lot of people were saying, why don't you just like go outside in the sun? Like you don't have to buy $1,000
You don't have to
device
T-pose
for your
over a testicular tanning device.
Right.
You can just go chill outside.
And also like the whole like, average testosterone in men is dropping. It's like, well, for numbers of like different reasons, and you're talking about like the average of everybody, sort of like there's differing populations that different things are happening to that have to do with like environment and like people's like food choices and like the amount of fucking plastic. I don't know if we ever talked about this, but like apparently they're finding like a credit card's worth of plastic in people's bodies like every single week. Like we're just consuming plastic nonstop, and it's like really fucking bad for everyone. Like maybe we should stop polluting so much, but like that's what
exactly.
they want.
There's like all these
what they want
ridiculous over the top theories or testicular tanning solutions when like I remember the same thing happened in that Goop documentary where like they did all these crazy out there like experiments on like how they live healthy lives and all this dumb shit. And then like in the last episode, that's pretty much like, okay, it comes down to genetics and eating healthy and exercising. And it's like, okay, we've kind of known that for about as long as humans have existed. So it is fascinating. Like every time someone like these dudes are like, yeah, we need to like tan our balls and shit. It's like, or you could just encourage people to eat better, which I know is like everyone's been trying to do for years, and it's hard because like McDonald's tastes good. But like that is still what the focus should probably be at all times.
Yeah.
Anyway,
it's weird too
keep
because
tanning your bald kings.
Yep.
It's weird too because these people will also like they will do that for like a deadly communicable virus. They'll say, just go outside, eat better, do exercise, whatever. And then people will be like, well, there's like this thing that we invented like a couple 100 years ago that works really well called like a vaccine. And it like works scientifically and it's proven and there's mountains of data, and people go, no, just eat better or whatever. But you're like,
that's a good point.
Testosterone's dropping. And they go, we need to tan our taints.
Yeah, it's a bit hypocritical. But what is the punishment here? I mean, obviously they're radiating
testicular cancer. I know
they're radiating their own balls.
I do think testicular cancer would be literally just for the fact that like it's very survivable, but you do have to lose a nut which I feel like to someone like these people, where their ability to be men is their like the cornerstone of their psyche. I think that's probably one of
I'm
the
only
funnier.
half a man.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
exactly.
they've got the Lance Armstrong treatment. I feel like
Crying
that's
into his wife's bosom. I'm not a man anymore.
She gets one of her tits removed just to make him feel better.
She puts one of her tits in his ball. You can turn that into a ball.
I'm with you forever.
We got one more story here, Grant. You want to do this Ted Cruz one real quick?
Yeah, so there's a lot of dick content this episode.
Yeah, this has been a very
this
phallic
episode.
episode. I'm glad you researched me and knew what I like.
Yeah. I want to make you feel comfortable.
Well, so I think we talked a little bit about like again, sort of like drawing back to like
So don't say gay.
don't say gay, but specifically like corporate branding in the face of like socio like political like type content and stuff like that, and how they sort of have to tread these like fine lines of like, yeah, we support this legislation and we're funding these politicians, but also like we're against this and we're pro LGBT, but we're not, but we are, but we're family values, but also like we're trying to be diverse because we're a huge company.
Very confusing.
And so it's one of those things where everyone's just like, man, y'all are really just pandering to everybody at this point, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Specifically Disney. And I guess because Disney's doing literally anything, people are going either like, hey, you guys are homophobic, or like, hey, quit having your characters fellate each other, which I don't think I've seen that happen yet.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen the newest Pixar one, but
Maybe that
yeah,
happens.
I can't say for sure.
I have
It
seen
doesn't
it,
happen
and
in-
there's very little fellatio happening between the underage characters. So,
Okay, got it.
which may or may not be to its detriment, or to well, actually, the problem with the latest Pixar movie is that it doesn't reference 9/11. That's been the major critique.
Yeah. We meant to talk about that too. That was on the dock at some point where it's like, what the fuck do people want?
Wait, was this for Turning Red?
Yeah, because
This
it
is
takes
Turning
place
Red,
at that
yeah.
time
What-
period.
It's set in
It took
2002,
place
which
in
is like
Canada.
yeah.
Well, they don't know about it.
Well, they weren't affected by it. Like
Yeah. Well, then somebody could mention it. Like, hey, did you hear what's happening in America?
they had their flags hang at half-mast in solidarity on September 12th, and that was it. Like,
Yeah.
it's a
They weren't crying
children's
maple
movie.
syrup
Business
tears,
as
like
usual. Yeah.
Yeah, they're good for the most part. Yeah, I mean that critique, I think that's just endemic of like shitty YouTube like film reviewers in general. They're like, I don't know why I
Yeah.
don't like this, so I feel like I need to come up with a reason.
Yeah, I got to stand out because my livelihood depends on it. So I guess I'll complain about 9/11 and Disney.
Yeah,
That's when people like fucking the quartering or whatever. They just they get mad about like, oh, it's gone woke, because that's just something easy to
Yeah.
critique a movie for, even though
Gone
that's
woke.
not like a criticism.
Yeah, there was one criticism of that movie in particular that stood out that I thought you were talking about, but I didn't know anything about this. But where someone was like, "Oh, its themes aren't exactly universal," and it's just like, what? Because it was about a Chinese family instead of like a bunch of whites. Like,
Yeah, well, I guess the other thing is
Like-
it's about like a 13-year-old girl, and like I guess the experience of going through that, which I mean I haven't gone
Right.
through, but
Right.
like I was a teenager and I was a teen. Well, no, sorry, I was almost in high school around the time of the movie, so there's a lot of like things I could relate to, just in terms of like the culture at that time, or like the technology or whatever. But like,
right.
that's the beauty of having empathy, is that you can
Right,
you can
exactly.
put
You
yourself
don't
in
have
someone
to-
else's shoes and be like, I don't understand this, and someone will, and that's cool. But I just get to experience, in the same way I don't know what it's like to go on a mighty quest to throw a ring into a mountain. I can still appreciate that. That seems like a fun thing to do, and I'm going to watch a movie about it.
Well, speaking about watching movies about fun things, Ted Cruz has been watching Disney movies, and he's been having empathy in...
Ted Cruz notified Disney adult.
Well, this is the same guy during
Good to know
the
he's been
Supreme
working
Court.
hard at his job, representing the
Yeah.
people.
this is the same guy that during like the most recent Supreme Court hearings was like reading a children's book, saying like to a person who's going to be on the bench for the rest of her life, was saying, "Have you read this children's book for 5-year-olds? It says, wah wah goo goo gaga, bring me diaper."
Yep.
He did that.
That's a good
he
one.
said that.
Yeah.
But
God.
he's been watching Disney, and I'm gonna play this clip, and this is what he had to say about what he's been seeing personally with his eyeballs on Disney.
Can I real quick before you do start that? Can I just ask for clarification on what the "don't say gay" law is? Because I obviously do not live in the States. I've heard that phrase thrown around a bit, and to me it seems a bit hypocritical. Well, no, a bit of an oxymoron, because you literally say "gay" in order to say "don't say gay." So you've kind of defeated your own argument.
It's been like billed as that by like the media. Like it wasn't like HR, like House Bill number 671, don't say gay. I think it's just like whatever, the Children's Protection Act or whatever they call these things. People were saying it's like the don't say gay bill, because it particularly, I believe, has to do with like what children are, or what teachers are and aren't allowed to say to children. Like if your child has like a gay teacher and they say like, oh, like the kids say, oh, what do you do after school, Mr. Whatever? And he goes, oh, I'm going
Mr.
home
Gay.
to my husband. Yeah, Mr. Gay. What are you going to do after school, Mr. Gay? And he says, well, me and my husband are going to go to the movies. They could say, hey, you can't say that about the LGBT
Me and my platonic
issues.
friend who I live with, my platonic male friend who I live with and adopted a child with, for tax reasons, are going
like
to
Bert
the
and Ernie.
movies.
And so they're calling teachers groomers over it, and
Yeah, sure.
and people are like losing their jobs. At first, people were like, "Oh, nobody's gonna lose their job," and then people were like losing their jobs over like, whatever. And it's one of those things where it's
so
like
fucked
you
up.
want to be sensitive around children and certain topics, but also like people's identities is not like a sensitive topic sort of thing. So it's a bunch of fucked up shit. Like
I had a
everything else here.
teacher in year 8, which is 8th grade for you guys, very easy conversion. That, you know the classic English teacher meme of gets pregnant and fucks off for the year. They did that.
Yeah.
But they taught up until, I don't know, like they're fucking 8 months in and were getting bloated and could pop at any time. But they were like, she would like regularly give us updates on like how the baby's getting on. Like, oh, it started to feel kicks this morning. Or, oh, it's pushing up against my bladder, so now I have to go to the bathroom all the time. And like, to me, that's that seems like kind of the same thing, right? Like, obviously she wasn't talking about sex specifically, but I mean, we all know where babies come from. And now she's like talking about like
The stork.
This,
Yeah.
Exactly. She was bloating up to feed the stork.
And he's a sick little freak. He loves eating that stuff. Placenta.
Yeah, placenta and pussy juice. So, yeah, I don't know. People were dumb.
Well,
but we already
speaking
knew
of
this.
pussy juice, I'm gonna go ahead and play this Ted Cruz.
Yeah, please play this clip.
Yeah, here we go.
I think there are people who are misguided, trying to drive, Disney stepping in saying, in every episode now they're going to have, Mickey and Pluto going at it.
I don't know, actually, Ted.
Really?
Thank you for that image, Senator.
But it's just like, come on, guys. Like these are kids, and you could always shift to Cinemax if you want that. Like, why do you have?
You can go to Tumblr if you want that.
You used to be able to put your kids on
You
the
can go to
Disney
my
go to
Twitter
Disney.
likes if you
all
want
right,
that.
something innocuous will happen.
Yeah, so that's Ted
What-
Cruz's
weird.
viral moment.
That was a weird go-to. Like, Pluto is his pet. It's like he couldn't say like Mickey and Goofy. Like they're like of the same sort of like level
He was
of
like pulling for an
IQ.
example so hard that he couldn't even think of one.
Was he going for the classic, like, the people who oppose gay marriage? It's like, well, what's next? People going to start marrying their dogs? Maybe he was going for that kind of...
possibly,
that gives
but
him
it
too
didn't-
much credit,
yeah.
though.
Yeah.
I think he just thought that Pluto and Mickey are both boys, but also he's like,
yeah, Pluto sounds like a boy's name. I really like the Louis C.K. bit about that, where he's just like about the gay marriage thing, where people say like, oh, what's next? You're gonna marry the dogs? He's just like, good. I don't fucking care. Let them fuck their dog if they want. I don't give a shit. Doesn't affect me.
For my dog. Well, who gives a shit, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. God, Ted Cruz. What a strange person.
Do you guys have politics in Australia?
Unfortunately, we do. I cannot vote here legally, so I do not pay attention to any of it.
How'd you get that taken away?
Oh, pardon me. I'm recovering from a cold still, so I'm a bit sniffly. But
it's a sad story. We get it.
I'm glad I can't vote here. It's a fucking nightmare. The politics here are like about as they're not quite on your level yet, but they're definitely like heavily influenced by.
You'll get there.
The American spectacle. New Zealand's politics are like a bit more reasonable for the most part. We haven't quite got into.
You're not a big imperial power like we are.
No, exactly, and even like both our parties are quite centrist, so it's not like like if either one's in power, it's like you don't really fucking notice a huge difference. Well, depending on who you talk to, and I'm sure someone could clarify that and be like, actually, but in all my years living in New Zealand. I had both people were in power, and both parties were in power at different times, and it really didn't fucking change much of anything for me. So,
I think last time we talked about Australian politics, a guy got hit in the head with an egg by a teenager. So that looked fun.
That was funny. Yeah, there is actually in the Australian elections this year. So there's fucking ads everywhere, which again I hate because I can't. It's just like this is wasted on me. Which is funny in terms of they wasted money to show it to me, but it's also annoying because it's replaced all the other funny ads I normally get on YouTube, like scam artists trying to teach me how they make 20 grand a month with one simple trick that they're going to teach me in a course that I pay for.
Right. And grow your dick 8 inches.
Doctors hate him.
I've never had the dick ones on YouTube, unfortunately, but for some reason YouTube must have thought I was like, some fucking dude who follows Elon Musk and grows Bitcoin in my backyard, because it was really like trying to get me on the whole fucking like, oh, you could be an entrepreneur working from home, and I'm like, I already do that. It's it's okay. I don't need to do it from some guy with a fucking buzz cut who supposedly makes 20 grand a year, 20 grand a month doing it, who for some reason wants to tell me how to do that and give himself competition. But so shout out to YouTube ads for that one. But yeah, no, politics is shitty here too. So it's good to know that's a consistent. It's universal.
Yeah,
sad to see that Mickey's turned to the ways of. I mean, I guess it's not really. What was the term? Like zoophile?
I mean, but he's already a mouse.
Mickey's also an animal.
That's the thing. It's very confusing. Like, yes, he's an animal, and yes, this joke has been made before many times, much like our Scooby-Doo parody. But when we do it, we're doing the definitive take on it. So yeah,
we're 17 layers of irony deep, unlike those other ones.
Exactly. And I'm thinking Mickey's like, I don't know. Let's just think of a punishment here. So,
here's a punishment. Just every time Ted Cruz turns on the TV, Mickey and Pluto are fucking. Like, what else do you want from us, Ted Cruz? Like, this isn't happening, and it's never going to happen. And you could have used a good example. You could have been like, hey, this movie Luca that came out, there were two very friendly boys in this movie, and they were sort of gay baiting the entire time, and it was sort of coded to be that, but Disney couldn't really commit to doing that fully.
Yeah.
And where do they they're selling their people down the line on one end, but they're also supporting these things. There's no moral consistency. Instead of using a good example, he came up with Mickey and Pluto fucking. And so just every time he turns on the TV, he's just
he's like, I feel like no. He's like, why don't you just turn on Cinemax? He's like, is that happening on Cinemax? Bestiality?
I don't think they do it on Cinemax, but that's the thing. He should have to be tied down like Clockwork Orange style with his eyes open, and be forced to watch like hundreds of hours of like Rule 34 DeviantArt, like Mickey X Pluto bestiality hentai.
I broke that, by the way, but sorry about that.
Oh, we got a wheel.
Yeah, we have a wheel. I broke
landed
the red part off, but
Landed on menu.
it still
We can
works.
see the little, you know.
yeah. Go ahead. Yeah. Oh, Clockwork Orange. Yeah. It's the Clockwork Orange punishment.
So I think that's he has to sit there and he has to look into the face of the reality that he has created and be forced to watch hundreds of hours of Mickey Mouse and friends gay porn drawn by children on DeviantArt. I feel like that's probably that's the punishment. Yeah, but not good illustrations either, like the really bad ones.
Right.
Well, that's enough goofy Donald and Mickey fucking talk for the episode. Let's move on to something nice, something refreshing. Let's move on to our Thought Cop's key to the city. I'd like to give the key to our fair city of Neo Chicago to something nice, something positive, something swell.
You can keep going. I'm getting my cat out of the sink.
A little bit of a chaser for all the crap we just ate. And I'm not talking about, what'd you call them?
Dick
Picnic
Vein
bars?
Snickers.
Yeah. My key to the city this week goes to the YouTuber Rebel Taxi. Recently
Shouts out to
discovered
Rebel
his
Taxi.
channel. Yeah, really cool guy. I assume at least his videos are good. His content is very focused about like early 2000s kind of like cartoons and video games, and like it's kind of like what you said, where he hits this like really interesting niche that's very specific, where it's like, oh, I would like to see this.
Yes,
I'll make it myself, and his videos have this sort of very like.
It's a
Got
cat.
Kirby on the mic here. Kirby the cat.
Oh, I love Kirby. I want a cat so badly. Can I have that one?
No, I hate this show. Look at that.
That works.
She's like a Pokemon. See ya. Don't go back in the sink.
Sure heard what we were saying about Mickey and Pluto, and she's like, I'm out of here. I'm sorry.
You guys are fucking freaks.
I didn't say it. Ted did. Anyway, yeah, Rebel Taxi, good channel on YouTube.
Fuck yeah. Key to the
Many
city to you,
kudos.
my friend.
What is your key to the city this episode?
I've been watching lately, in terms of positivity. So off the internet, or arguably on it because it's streaming, I've been rewatching Mythbusters with my missus, which is like phenomenal show. Still holds up. Very cozy viewing. Very just wholesome, fun. Nothing. Just a really solid show. But Adam Savage from it has a YouTube channel, and he does Q&As on there where he answers questions about Mythbusters, and he's a very, very eloquent storyteller, really interesting to listen to, just like a brilliant mind in general. And his channel Tested, he does all sorts of things. He does like a lot of like building and workshopping and making props and engineering stuff or whatever. Yeah. And all those videos are really interesting too. But yeah, just the ones where he just tells stories from the sets of Mythbusters, 7 or 8 years after the fact, after its cancellation, after it ended, I should say. It's really fascinating because he's just brilliant at telling stories. He's got such a nice demeanor. So yeah, that's what I've been kind of enjoying. That's maybe a little bit off the beaten track, and yeah, just a very positive kind of wholesome experience all around. So can recommend if you're a fan of Mythbusters, and maybe even if you're not, I don't know.
Yeah, I figured they had to be still doing stuff because I know the show's been off the air, like you said, for a while.
Right.
And I
think
think
the two dudes. I think the two dudes like hate each other, but
so they don't hate each other. So
so.
There's some interesting stories. They don't hate each other.
Right.
They just had a professional relationship, and that was it. Like
That's fair.
I guess because on camera they seem like real good buddies. So like when people
right.
like they've never like hung out outside of work. Again, professional relationship. I'm sure we've all had it where it's like, I really like this dude at work. He's really great to work with. I'm never gonna like ask to hang out outside of work. Like that's just not happening. So that's that.
Fucking
So yeah,
nerd.
I think people took that like that revelation of like, oh, we don't, we're not like friends per se, to be like, oh, they're
I
at
thought
each
they
other's
got in
throats,
an
they hate
argument
each
over
other.
a myth. I say it's busted. I say it's not.
So they are not
Classic.
not friends. They just they just had an exclusively professional relationship, and had immense respect for each other within that sphere. But haven't really
good.
like continued after that. So, but yeah, again, he talks about that in these videos on YouTube about because people often ask that kind of question to him. So
Cool.
yeah.
Grant, what do you got for us?
My key to the city this week, I'm going to share a video here. Actually, a couple videos. I clipped these.
It's for my favorite Senator Ted Cruz, and he's talking about.
Yeah. You can't wait to see the videos that I have on my computer.
Okay, now I've been wondering what this is. 'cause
Yeah,
I've seen
so
this.
I clipped this. I clipped 3 different videos. I was falling asleep one night watching YouTube because, sometimes you put on a YouTube video and you fall asleep to it because then it's like I don't have to listen to the negative thoughts that are going off in my head. I can
La
just
la 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 la
listen
la
to
la.
some weird shit, not realize I'm getting tired, and then fall asleep. And it's like whatever time, 2 a.m. or whatever. And I see the most terrifying image on screen, and these like weird nerd New York dudes threatening me with their hacker lingo, and I was like, "What's going on here?" So this
very
first,
unnerving.
It was a cyberpunk documentary from 1990.
That's fucking cool.
And they were like hiding these guys' identities because these guys are big time hackers. And if you want to know what a big time hacker talks like, here you go.
Around in people's databases. I deal in software. I trade. I don't crack. I'm not that good. But
So this
I
is
deal
this
with
guy
it, trade with people.
talking.
And poke around in databases, play with phones. Well, I make free phone calls everywhere. You name it. Europe, Asia, the United States, Cuba. I called Russia once. They didn't like that very much. And I first started doing it just to call. But
So is this
now
supposed
I'll
to,
do
like,
that so I can reach somebody's
hide
database
his
just so I can trade
Yeah.
software.
Identity?
It's the
just,
worst
it adds
identity hiding.
an
The one
extra
guy
dimension. So I
after
don't have
this,
to
you
pay for the
can
phone call. I'm not paying
see
for the
his
software. I'm
face.
not paying to get into their
It's like a
database.
weird, like
probably see
CGI devil or something.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it easier for me, and so I can do it more.
Yeah, so that was the first one. Then there's this
Oh,
guy
wow.
who's also very interesting. I'm going to play his audio here.
You just do it for the challenge of getting in because it's like the big game. Because the people who own the system, they
It's
hire
like you can see
so-called
this dude's
professionals
face.
to sell
Yeah, why
security,
why do
so
they
to
put
keep people
empty
like
parts
us
in the
out.
model?
So it's a game. You want to see how smart they are.
This is
And,
weird.
you know,
yeah.
if you can beat them at their own game, you get in, you look around. If it's boring, you leave. Generally, most people leave. You know, you have some malicious types who like to go in and screw things up. But, you know, I just do it for the
Like,
challenge.
why
It's
not
fun.
blur the face out?
I don't know.
Yeah, blur
But
the
I
face
just-
and then put something dumb over top of it.
I just love like listening to these guys talk is just like hilarious. Like, yeah, you get in there, you poke around a little bit, it's boring, you leave.
Like when like hackers used to be just blue collar guys.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
I
just like some
crossed a
guy
couple wires. You
Well,
know,
yeah,
maybe
I
I
found
hear
a-
something I'm not supposed to hear.
I found a phone book. I just looked around a little bit. I mean, there's some interesting stuff. Yeah,
Hey,
sure.
I called Russia. They did not like that.
There's something very cozy about the whole thing.
Yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
very, and the same when you go back and watch The Matrix. There's something about like early 2000s, technology, or sorry, 90s, 2000s
Right.
technology where it's like kind of creepy in a way. Like these 3D models are fucking disgusting.
Yeah,
But like,
exactly.
I don't know. It reminds me of like when I first started using the internet back in the day and poking around on there, much like these guys are doing my free phone call to Russia
Right.
that everyone gets
Rite
when
of
you sign up
passage,
to the
yeah.
internet. Yeah, so I don't know. Yeah,
yeah.
there's something kind of nostalgic about it in like a creepy way.
Yeah, this is the original Snapchat filter.
Yeah. I got one more here. This is the first guy again.
Somebody put up an AT&T database number, and so one kid who was good with hacking into systems got on, and he got into a menu that he didn't know what it was, and he
almost
just
got him
started
there.
poking around with it, and the next thing he knew, people came to his house, and he didn't know what happened, and they told him that he had moved a satellite. He moved a telecommunications satellite out of orbit, and they all freaked out. I mean, they came to his house going, "You moved the satellite," and, he was like 14 years old, so his parents were like passing out because there were federal agents in his house, and he was shitting bricks, and the federal agents came in, confiscated all his computer equipment, and scared the living daylights out of him, and he thought he was going away to jail for the rest of his life, and he just turned everybody in.
A funny story. Like they're all laughing.
It's
about it.
literally the Robert Downey Jr. meme of there's federal agents outside my house,
Right.
but for the 90s. It's fucking sick though. I love
like,
that sort of stuff.
Again, it's so weird because this shit was like cutting edge back then. It's like, oh, there's these hacker dudes, and in normal, it's just like they're just like weirdo losers like everybody else. But it's just like, ooh, they're like devils and robots and like weird fringe types. And it's like, I don't know, they're just sort of the guy from IT that knows how to use computers better than everybody.
Yeah, the guy who puts up Game of Thrones right away.
Exactly.
That's what that guy's gone on to do. He's since retired and now just does that sort of shit. Even like that guy. I'm blanking. The guy who does like who hacks into like call centers to what's his name? Anyway, he's like he hacks into those like scam call centers in India usually. And then like fucks with them or like shuts their operation down from the inside. Because the shit he does is pretty fucking impressive too. Where he can, I think the way the hack works, or sorry, the scam works is they'll make you download screen sharing software on your computer, and then they'll take control, and like transfer money out of your shit or whatever. But he's like such a fucking pro. He like when they connect to him, he like reverses it and like connects to them without them knowing, and then like hacks into their shit instead. It's like
incredible.
How the fuck do you do that? So yeah, that guy's fucking cool. He also gets a key to the city.
All
How many
day
keys
on
do
the
we have to give
computer
away?
learning about it?
Oh, that's all the keys, actually. But before we do get to our final segment, which is our listener voicemails, many kudos. If you want to go ahead and plug everything you have, your YouTube channel, your podcast, your social media, anywhere where our listeners can find you.
Oh, yeah, sure. We are on, if you like this podcast, you'll like other podcasts too, The Beef Boys. That's Beef Boys on YouTube. And yeah, my channel is just me.
You've had Doplex on the show? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yes, Doplex was on here a wee while ago. James and Andrew as well, two other lovely YouTube boys, and the four of us created a podcast together, a video podcast, much like this one, but with zero structure and a lot more screaming. But it's a really fun time. So that comes out every week. And then my videos come out when I feel like it, which in theory is next month, but we'll see. And that's just youtube.com/mini kudos. MANY kudos, not mini. My Kiwi accent kind of fucked me on that one. Every time I explain to someone they're like mini, like small, I'm like, no. No, it's the opposite of small.
Tiny
a
kudos.
Lot. Yeah.
And we'll include links to everything in the episode description. Again, I want to see that number hit 199.4K. We're going to make it happen.
Yes, I'll be sure to let you know when it does. Once the thought cops. What do you call the fans here?
I guess the deputies.
Also deputies, I guess.
Whatever.
When the deputies roll in and arrest everyone in my comment section, I'll let you know.
Let them know who sent you. Anyway, well, like I said, you can scroll down and find the links to that in the description. If you guys would like to leave us a voicemail, our phone number is 312-788-7361. Again, that number is 312-788-7361. Or you can always send an audio file. If you forget that
number, try call another number like a Pizza Hut or something and just ask them to pass on the Thought Cops.
Yeah, they'll patch you over. Or you can always send us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. Without further ado, let's hit it.
Hello, Thought Cops. This week I have a very, very simple 2 minutes of hate.
Okay.
And that is the introduction and the proliferation of the Apple iPhone. Now, it's amazing that these devices can do. I can text and tweet and watch YouTube, watch TikTok.
Amazing.
Send an email. All these very, very important functions of
I think this guy's got a
society. Tell the time. Alarm clock.
Yep. List them
yes,
all.
very important.
Keep going.
But one thing that these
Here we go.
phones and phone manufacturers have copied from Apple is touch screen interfaces. Oh, it's good. It's
I think the military.
genuinely good for things like internet browsing, Twitter browsing, trying to keep up to date with your friends and family. But one thing that it's failed,
This guy's like the Joker in his delivery.
all the gamers out there,
dramatic pauses.
is input buttons, physical input buttons to play video games.
Yes.
Now, I have been a long believer, personally, that touchscreen and motion controls are trash for inputting, inputting inputs into a video game.
Correct.
I remember as a young kid, with my Razor X, playing Tetris on my phone, bored at work.
I trust this guy with a razor.
Because I could actually press a button
Dude, wellness
and
check on this
see
guy.
my touch connect to a screen.
We do have
How
a
many
lot of
people are playing
villains that
Tetris
call in.
now on their iPhones?
Exclusively.
And it's absurd. Now, the thing about these phones is now they're sleeker and more designed to fit in your pocket.
Yes, they are.
That's great. But to play an actual video game on it, they're absolute dog shit, dude.
That's why
Just the worst.
handheld systems exist.
So, as punishment, everybody has to, use a phone on their Game Boy SP. And really understand the hardship of not
Jesus
communicating
Christ.
with anybody as efficiently as possible.
I was born in
But
it. Wow.
That was good. Thank you.
Is that the
Yeah, no,
okay?
very
Well,
mu-
I appreciate that. Thank you, Joker, the Joker of phones, the phone Joker.
Yeah.
But he does have a good point.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
fuck,
of
it's
course,
cold. There we go.
We'll just edit that out.
Yeah, layer it in 3 more times right now.
I'll echo it. Yeah.
I used to be a king at typing on my flip phone in my pocket during class, and that shit was sick. To be fair, I haven't really been in a situation since where I need to do that, but it was kind of sick. Like, I knew the exact layout of my phone, like how to get to a message, how to, type in a message, send it, whatever. So, if someone messaged me during class, I could, when the teacher wasn't looking, whip your phone out, read the message real quick, put it in my phone, and I could do everything else after that. From touch alone, I knew exactly how to type out everything, and there was no predictive text, so I knew it wasn't gonna type in some dumb shit by accident. I knew exactly what buttons I was pushing, and I was fucking king at it.
Duck you, what?
Yeah, but no more. You can't do that with a touch screen. You can't fucking pray that you hit the right buttons on the pad. I think gaming on a phone's fine. It just depends what kind of games you're playing. If you're trying to play fucking San Andreas, obviously, you kind of deserve it at that point. But fucking cut the rope. Do we Fruit Ninja? You can't play that on fucking PS5.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't work.
And they make those games so that you can play them mobile.
Yeah, most
exactly.
games.
For that, yeah.
I think there was even a quote from Miyamoto after the Wii kind of had, it had its success, it had its fall and everything, where he did say, we tried it wasn't for everybody. I don't think the sticks and buttons are going anywhere anytime soon because that for a game like an Elden Ring or any of these games where it's super high intensive reaction speed, you got it the
tactile response is just the biggest you can't go without it.
Even for VR games, it's you're for a lot of them you're still you may have the headset on, but you're still using the controller. It's it's just more visually immersive, but it's not like everybody thinks oh, you can move around and you wave your hands around and you can punch God.
It's
presumably
you don't do that in real life either. That's why it's sort of weird. It's you pick you touch things. Things are tactile and you need something tactile. You don't make food doing this. You make food by holding a pan and a fucking stick and you move things around.
Yeah.
Every time I see sci-fi
touch
movies where they've got a touch screen and they have to do this, I'm like, your arms would be dead. If that's your job.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I was watching some sci-fi movie where, they're the ship loading bay or whatever, and someone's like beep 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 bloop, bloop, on their screen. I'm like, your arms up like this, they're gonna break. We have keyboards down here for a reason. I know, for ages, Microsoft was trying to make their stupid touchpad fucking bullshit on the screen works. Every copy of Windows 8 or 10 or 8 or 10 or whatever the fuck we got, like, has that keyboard shit built in that always pops up at really inopportune times because they just assume your desktop with non-touchscreen monitors must definitely want a touchscreen keyboard to pop up all the time. Like you're like Windows 8 with all this stupid app icon things. They were like, yeah, this is definitely the future. Everyone's desktop PC is now going to be a touchscreen. They gave up on that pretty quickly, but yeah.
Thank God.
Anyway,
yeah. Thank you for leaving the voicemail. Yeah, I think that was the only one we got.
Yeah,
right?
there was people left hundreds of voicemails, but we really only played this one because it was the best one. So
yeah,
we picked the scariest.
I could see
ones.
he spoke enough for 3 of them. So
yeah. Again, I think the voicemail prompt when you call us does say keep it under a minute, but we'll let it slide this time.
That's okay.
Again, the number is 312-788-7361, or you can always email us an audio file to thoughtcopspodcast@gmail.com. And if you want to support the show, get a backlog of bonus content, and be a part of the episode in our live recording chats, head on over to patreon.com/thoughtcops. I want to give a shout out to, we don't have any new patrons this week, but I want to give a shout out to one of our oldest patrons, Fun Kilo. Fun Kilo has been donating to us every month since July 17th, 2018. Thank you.
Thank you. It's really been keeping the ship afloat.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you guys have no idea. It's been keeping the ship afloat.
See all this stuff in our room? It's patreon.com/thoughtcops.
One day we might get more stuff.
The walls,
Patreon.
yeah. The house that patreon.com/thoughtcops built.
Right.
Why is it falling over?
Yeah, it's on its way.
It's only $100 or so a month. That's why.
Yeah.
We got the one wall. That's it.
Many kudos. Thank you so much for coming on the show. I'm glad we could finally
Yes,
wrangle you and make this happen. And it was so
long
worth
time
it.
coming. Yeah. No, you guys are super fun. I'd love to come on again sometime. We'll spend another 2 or 3 months nailing me down.
Yeah, we'll have to like way like years in advance next time. So we'll plan now. Thanks everybody for listening. See you next time.
See you, Space Cop.
Suck my thought cock.
Great way to end.